What's up, everyone? Today we're gonna work on smash passing. We're gonna use a lot of our hips to pass our opponent's guard. And the way I constructed this instruction is we're gonna first focus on the positions that we're gonna land in. So first I'm going to describe the positions, and I'm going to tell you the options that you have from those positions, how to pass to different sides, and what's your options from each position. And then in the second part, we're gonna focus on how to get into that positions. But in this way, we don't have to say the same thing over and over and over again. You can always come back to the first part, see what's your options from that position whenever you get to that position using the second part of the DVD. First position, and one of my favorite positions when it comes to folding passes or smash passes, however you're gonna call that, is double leg smash, when my opponent's legs are stick together and they're parallel with the mat. So I want to have my opponent's legs together, one leg above and the other one. And now, whenever I get to that position, very important thing is my hip position. So I don't want to be too low behind his thigh, because then he can open his leg and open the position. I don't want to be too far away, because again, there's not enough pressure. The way I want to have my hip here is I want to put my hip bone exactly in the middle of his thigh. So it's a middle of his thigh length and the middle of his thigh width. So I'm gonna put my hip bone in there, and it's kind of like uncomfortable pressure. Then I'm gonna use my knee. I'm gonna slide it towards the back of his knees here. So now I can use my leg to bring his legs up whenever I have to. My other leg is far away. I don't want to put my knee on the ground like this. I want to have my foot on the ground. So in this case, I can always use my leg to add some more pressure. Plus, it's more mobile, so I can always move when my opponent is trying to kind of scramble, move out from the position. Now, from here, my arm. There's two basic ways I like to control. The best way to control is, of course, getting the underhook. Whenever I have the underhook, I know that I'm 100% safe here. There's not many options for him to escape. Plus, I have more options when it comes to passing, more safe options when it comes to passing. But sometimes we're not going to be able to get the underhook. We're going to land in this position where my opponent has the underhook. So I'm not in danger here, because he can't use his underhook against me to expose my back. It's not kind of a half guard concept. His legs are smashed together, so we're kind of safe still. In this case, if I'm not able to swing my arm in, I'm gonna grab my opponent belt. So I'm going like overhook grip over the shoulder, and I'm gonna grab his belt, maintaining the pressure from the top. Now my second arm, I like to keep it on the mat here. Whenever I have to, I'm gonna use this arm to grab his collar, and I can pull him down a little bit to limit his options of movement with his upper body. I can use this one to control the arm, to pull it up. I can also use this one to fight with his grips if he's trying to maybe push my leg away or immobilize my leg with a grip. I can always use it to break the grip. I can use it to pin the arm down. So this arm here is gonna be mobile. I'm not gonna place it anywhere, in any specific location. I like to keep it on the mat, and whenever I need it, I'm gonna use it. I can pin, I can push, I can go for his head, I can go for his collar here. We're gonna focus now on passing techniques from double leg smash. And first, we're gonna see a counter whenever my opponent tries to open up his legs and he tries to recover the guard or just release the pressure that I'm putting on top of him. So you won't see that from a very experienced opponent because they usually know the danger that comes with that kind of movement. But sometimes in a fight, when the time is like running out, the opponent can be kind of desperate, and then he can make a mistake and try to use that move. So whenever I'm in a double leg smash position, and it won't matter now if I'm gonna have the underhook or my opponent's gonna have the underhook and I'm gonna have a control on his belt. Now, whenever my opponent feels like he can open up his legs, he'll try to open up and he'll try to face me. In this position, in this situation, whenever he's opening up his legs, I can't panic and I can't like jump to the side. What I want to do is I want to take my feet off the ground and I want to float on top of his leg. Now, whenever I'm floating on top of his leg, I'm waiting for my opponent to raise his knee a little bit higher. So I'm going to be able to slide down towards his hips. So now when he's lifting up his legs, trying to get out of my control, I'm floating on top. And whenever his knee is high, I'm sliding down towards the hips. So the goal for my opponent is to open up the space, and whenever I'm trying to resist, he'll be able to push me back and recover the guard. So I don't want to resist. I don't want to pull myself back towards his feet. That gives him space and possibility to recover the guard. What I want to do is I want to just stay on top. So whenever he opens up his legs, I'm staying on top, lifting my legs off the ground. You can put your hands on the mat, but there's not too much weight on your hands. The most of your weight is on your hip. So now you see his knee is kind of high, so it's going to be easy for me to slide down towards his hips. Whenever I land on the hips, I stay heavy and I work to get the head control. So we're landing straight in the side control. So if you're thinking about competition, whenever you get to this position, there's no points yet, there's no pass yet. But if my opponent will panic and he will start lifting me up, trying to recover the guard, now he gives me the guard pass, because then I land in a side control. Let's do it from the other angle. So we're here, he's trying to lift me up to recover. I lift my legs off the ground and I let him drag me to the side. Then I get the control over the head. If this one will bother me, I'm gonna put my hand behind his hip, or I can fight back, get my own underhook, control the hip tight with my elbow. The other one is getting tight on his neck with my shoulder pressure on top, and we have a nice and tight side control. So we saw how to counter our opponent movement whenever he's trying to open up the legs in a double leg smash position. Now let's see how to pass my opponent's guard if he's not making such a desperate move. So we're gonna be in a double leg smash. We're still in a position where his both legs are parallel with them to the ground and they're stick together. So I'm on top. Let's say I'm having my underhook here. It's always a good idea to get a nice grip here on my opponent, like a little bit above my opponent's shoulder. This will trap his upper body a little bit. It's gonna limitate his upper body movement just a little bit, but it's a nice grip and it's very comfortable to grab whenever you get the underhook from the smash position. So whenever I get to this position here, what can happen is most of the time when my opponent doesn't want to open up his legs like he did before, he'll put hooks behind my legs. So most likely he'll hook this one, but very often he'll also go with the bottom leg towards my other leg as well, like this. So my both legs are kind of like trapped. So he doesn't want me to move to start passing his guard. So first of all, I'm gonna free my bottom leg. I'm gonna stretch my leg and I'm gonna use my hip towards his thigh to make it more painful for him. Then, whenever I free my bottom leg, I'm gonna bring it up towards the back of his knee. And then the only problem that's still existing is the outside leg control, the top leg control. So here, it's gonna be hard to take it out right away. So I'm gonna rotate my knee first towards the ground, like this. Now you can see that the hook automatically comes out. So from here, I'm gonna put my kneecap towards the ground and I'm gonna circle my shin and my foot behind my opponent's legs. And now, whenever I put my foot, my hook or my shin behind my opponent's Achilles, now I have a good position to start passing my opponent's guard toward one side or another. So my favorite way to pass the side is going towards the back right now. From here, I'm gonna grab my opponent's arm and I'm gonna pull it up like this. I like to use my elbow to pin his forearm towards my hip. And now I'm using my free leg, the one that was behind my opponent's knees, to circle around his hips. Whenever I'm able to circle around his hips, I can release this one. I don't need that one anymore. And whenever I release this one, I'm gonna be free to go. My opponent can't catch me in any type of a guard, even if he's flexible. Right away, we land in a side control. I take my underhook out and I go for the head control. I can swim my arm in underneath, control the hip. You got a nice side. Now the other way I can go after I deal with my opponent's hooks. So let's say he's having a nice hook here on my outside leg. So I use my knee to rotate, get rid of his hook. I come behind his Achilles. And now I'm gonna, again, control his bottom arm. I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna go with my free leg inside. So I create like a space between my knee and his knee here. I can be tied here to control, but whenever I wanna use my other leg, I'm gonna create some space and I'm gonna come on top. Then I'm gonna slide my hips in and I'm landing in Kasagatame position. Now from here, active legs, push my hips towards my opponent's hip until I feel that both his hips are lying on the mat, his back is flat. Then I'm using my knee to go all the way to his hip, tight, and we're landing in a side control. So as you can see, from this position, you got an option to go both sides. You can go either towards his back or towards his front. Usually going towards his back is easier and you find less resistance. But if you're able to control his arm very well, then you kind of taking his frame away from him. He can't frame you to push you back, and then the other option is also open. So let's see one more time. So most of the time, like I said, you're gonna put two hooks in. One on my outside leg, the other one on my inner leg. So this one is pretty easy to get rid of. So I'm gonna just throw my leg and I'm gonna use my hip. I'm gonna kind of like rotate my hip and spin my hip towards his thigh even more. From here, I need to free this one. Most of the time, he will go with both legs underneath my leg like this to control. I don't want to like lift my leg here because that creates too much space. Now my opponent can open up the position and you can drag me towards the mat. So instead of that, I'm going to bring my knee up towards the ground so he's not able to maintain his hook here. I rotate, lock behind my opponent's thigh. Now from here, I'm going to circle over his hips. Going to the side, or I can pin his forearm towards my hip. Now, from here, I'm gonna open up the space to get in with the bottom leg. So first, open the knee. Right away, I'm going in and I'm sliding heavy with my hips. I drop my hips to the ground. From here, I control the shoulder line and I'm using just my hips to rotate his hips. So right now he's not able to face me anymore. He's lying flat on the ground, knee high. So I'm going with my knee from his armpit towards his hip, tight, open up my legs, get to the side control. Now we're going to focus on passing our opponent's guard, actually passing from a double leg smash position to straight to mount. So we're going to actually begin in this situation, right? And now I feel like my opponent puts a lot of attention to control this leg here. He can even put the active hooks on my Achilles here or my calf, doesn't matter. So he has a nice control here. Again, I don't want to lift that leg. Whenever I lift that leg, he can start opening up the position and we're losing the control here. And that will create scrambles. We don't want scrambles from here, especially when we get that far here and we already have him in a good position to advance and to get our points. So keep the hook. So he has the nice hook here. First thing I do, I'm gonna get rid of this hand here. So whenever this hand is blocking my my leg, I can't turn my kneecap towards the mat to circle my leg and get behind his Achilles and start passing to the side. So first thing, I want to lift his arm up and I want to pin his forearm with my elbow towards my hip or towards my rib cage. Now, whenever I feel it's going to be problematic to get rid of the hook, instead of going behind his leg, I'm going to drive my leg all the way in towards his hip. So in this case, I don't have to worry about the hook. I don't have to get rid of the hook. Just because I'm going straight up towards his hips, his hook will come off. Now from here, the arm is not needed anymore. So I'm going to slide down and I'm going to get in deep here to get the control with my shoulder underneath his chin here. So you want to have a nice pressure from your shoulder on his neck. And to do that, you can even grab here underneath your opponent's armpit. There's going to be a nice and tight control here. Now, the only thing we need is to circle with my leg around my opponent's hip. So, I'm circling and I'm coming in to get them out. Most of the time, you're going to see that your opponent is already lying on the side and he's going to try to use his arm to push your leg in and recover, right? So whenever I get here and I feel like my opponent's digging with his knee underneath my leg, first thing I do I need to stick this whole area of my shin and the top of my foot towards the mat. So it has to be flat. So he can't get any space underneath to really like slide his knee in. Then I'm gonna grab his knee and I'm using that pulling motion, but I don't want to make like one constant pull. Instead of that, I want to get like a couple little pulls so he can't really pin his leg towards the ground. So he can't maintain his knee on the ground. And then whenever I open the hip, I close the space with my leg and I stay heavy on top. So once again. So we're in a position. He's focusing on my outside leg, pushing it back, hooking behind my leg. So first, I'm gonna take care of his arm. I like to control right above his elbow. I like to grab the tricep and I use a C grip to do that. If I feel like he has a nice and strong grip here on my pants, I can use my elbow to break it. If it's only a hand, like a nogi control, I don't have to, but I can use it. Most of the time I can use just the C grip, but if it's a strong grip on the pants, I won't be able to break it just like that. Then I have to go with my elbow around, use my elbow to pull it up. Pin. Now I open up this space here all the way towards his hip. So I'm going up towards his hip and I'm staying tight on his thighs right now. I don't want to stay here. It's not a good position because his hip is kind of free. So if he finds the opportunity to frame, he can get out with his hips and I have to chase him. So I really don't want this arm right now to come in front of my face. If it comes here, then he can scoop his hips out and he's kind of like escaping. I have to chase, I have to move forward. So I really want to close the space here so he's not able to circle his arm in front of my face to frame, and then I go around. So from here I go around his hip, I stay heavy and I stick this like tight to the ground. I reach for his pants, I want to get the nice grip on the material, and I'm gonna go with a couple little pulls until I can open the space here, close it with my leg all the way to his hip, stay heavy on top of the mount position. Now we're gonna see a very nasty variation of a double leg smash control. So whenever I'm able to get to the position with a double leg smash control, I want to get my underhook in. So in this case, I'm going to need my underhook. I don't want to be with my hand here on top. So for that particular option, I really have to work this one in. Now, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that my knee is here behind my opponent's knees, so I'm able to bring his legs up whenever I need that. Second thing, I'm gonna use my grip here a little bit above his shoulder to really pin him down and control his upper body. So I don't want him to use his upper body to slide back, because now I can't reach his head. I'm gonna need the control over his head. So this one, I really pin my elbow towards his back and I want to keep his upper body in place. From here, I'm going to reach for the top of his head and I want to cover the top of his head with the tip of my elbow. So I'm reaching, tip of my elbow to the top of my opponent's head, and now I'm bringing the head down all the way to his knees. Now, whenever my opponent resists, I'm gonna bring it down and I'm gonna use my leg to bring the knees up. So I really want to fold him in half. Now, I maintain the control on top of the head, and now I'm gonna circle my leg behind his his legs, but I don't want to use the previous control. So I don't want to use my hook and my shin behind the Achilles. Instead of that, I want to put my knee behind. So that gives a lot of freedom for my other leg. I'm just lying here on top, like a blanket on top of my opponent, and I'm waiting for him to kind of panic. Whenever he's trying to stretch, whenever he's trying to regain some comfort here, try to like, then I slide to the side. So I'm waiting for his reaction. Most of the time, I'm gonna cook him a little bit here in the position, especially when I feel like the control is on point. I'm gonna cook it a little bit. So he's really like desperate to do something. Whenever I feel like maybe I'm lose a little bit of a control, maybe I'm losing the tip of his head, then I'm sliding to the side. So again, got a double leg smash, hip bone in the middle of the thigh, underhook. Now first thing, knee behind his knees. So you really able to bring his legs up whenever it's necessary. Now I'm gonna get a nice grip here above his shoulder, and now from here I'm reaching to the top of his head. So really aim with your elbow to the top of the head. If you're gonna get lower, it's not gonna work. Same thing here. If you try to bring the top of the head with your forearm, it's not gonna work. There's not enough pressure, there's not enough leverage. To get enough leverage, you have to go with the elbow. So elbow goes to the top of the head, I bring my opponent down, and I'm basing on the mat with the other hand. So I don't really need to maintain the grip here. Now I bring his legs up, and I'm using my other leg to bring my knee behind his leg. So I want to now be on my knees. I bring my leg behind, and this leg is totally free. So I can get ready to pass the line of his hips whenever I want to, whenever I need to. So I'm waiting for his reaction. Whenever he tries to like stretch, I go over his hips and I land straight in the side control. Sometimes when my opponent is trying to release the pressure too much, and I really have a great control here, I can even go for the mount. So if he's not careful about my hip, about my outside leg, and he's just trying to stretch in, sometimes you're gonna crawl straight to mount. But to be honest, I like to slide to the side way more, because whenever I go to the side, I have to step my knee behind his legs, and here I can relax for a little while. I can cook him in a position. I can wait for him to get desperate. Whenever he gets desperate, I slide. Now we're gonna focus on the second position that we want to get into, and it's gonna be a smash position. But right now, my opponent's legs won't be stick together. I'm gonna place my knee between my opponent's legs like this. So my legs goes in, but I don't want to go all the way in, especially when I'm sliding to the position, because then we leave our opponent options to counter. So whenever you slide in without any kind of a head control, if he can open the leg, he can start attacking. He can start attacking my leg, or at least put it in some kind of a danger. If you have a frame here, it's even more powerful. And now I have to defend my leg, and I'm not in the top position anymore. So whenever I get to this situation, I want to make sure that in the first move, I put an active hook behind my opponent thigh here. So active hook here and my knee in. So in this situation, we can easily go back to the first one. So I can put my knee behind his leg and I can turn it into double leg smash. But from here, I also have a lot of good options. So if I land in that position, I'm not necessarily trying to go to double leg smash. From this situation, first thing I want to do, I want to work to get my underhook. So if my opponent lands with his own underhook, I want to push his head down and I want to work my own. I don't want to leave him an underhook situation. Now from here, I'm gonna go with my leg behind my opponent top leg. So if he's hooking my leg, same thing as we had before. I'm changing the angle, turning my knee towards the mat, circling and getting around, making nice hook behind his thigh. Now I'm gonna bring his leg up. So I'm making like a little moves here to bring his leg up. This will stretch his whole body. So he's starting to feel uncomfortable here. It's this leg, but it's also his glute and it's also a little bit of his back, because I'm putting pressure here to keep his back kind of flat on the ground. And this one, I'm sliding up. That's why I want to have the underhook. So I'm really turning his upper body with the back flat towards the ground. Whenever I control with this leg, this one loses its first purpose. It's not putting too much pressure anymore. So you can free that one and you can circle around the opponent's hips. So I'm circling, I'm letting go this one, I'm going straight to side control, taking my hand out, getting control here. I can work to get the hip as well. And we got a nice and tight side control. So again, whenever I land here with my knee in, I'm working to get the underhook. If I don't have one, like this, now my opponent can stay on his side. And whenever you're trying to like stretch his leg now, the effect is not the same. He doesn't feel the same stretch as he felt before because of the position of his upper body. So first, I want to swim my underhook in, and now look, his back is automatically turning towards the ground. That's what we want. So now I rotate my leg, circle, get behind, and now little moves to stretch it. Now from here, I can use my other leg to get around his hips. But if you feel you're lacking mobility here, try to exchange your leg with your arm. So I'm gonna make some space here with my knee. At first, I wanna have my knee kind of like aligned or like just close to his knee. So my shin is kind of aligned with his shin. But whenever I wanna exchange my control, I wanna open up, slide my arm in, and now my other leg's free as well. So from here, I'm going with my chest low, I'm staying with my chest heavy, and I'm just circling with my legs towards his back. Now from here, on the hook, under the head control, we got a side. All right? So everything will depend here on your mobility. Let's maybe like here. So when I'm here and I feel kind of mobile, I stretch him and I'm able to like go around his hip. That's gonna be easy for me. Easy pass. But sometimes some people they're not so mobile with their hips. They can't open their legs so that wide. In this case, it's good to exchange your control here. So I open, I go with my hand underneath. If you lose tightness, when you exchange your control, you lose tightness, make like a spider move on the mat to pull the leg up even more. Now from here, head down, chest down, heavy, and I'm starting to circle around his hips. Now another position that connects very well with our knee and smash, chiropractor position. And I'm gonna use that one whenever I feel there's too much space in my knee and smash and my opponent feels free to move, maybe frame, maybe pull his hips out a little bit. I feel like he's kind of like on the good way to recover his guard, and I want to make the position tighter. And what I want to achieve here is make him even more turn with his legs towards the mat and his back and chest flat. That's going to be my goal. As I told you before, initially I don't want to get with my foot in because that gives my opponent options to counter. So initially when I'm getting to knee and smash, I don't want to put my foot in because then he can open his legs and he can bring me to the mat, create scramble, or start putting threat on my legs. But situation change if at first I'm putting an active hook behind his knee, I'm just having my knee between his legs, separating his legs, and now I'm gonna place my grip on his collar here, or I'm gonna get underneath his head. That changes the situation, because now even if I put the foot in, he won't be able to open his legs to start attacking my leg or to bring me to the ground. Plus, he won't be able to use this arm to get underneath my armpit to get the proper frame to really like bring me to the other side. So whenever I get to his head this way or this way, he's not able to put that threat on my leg anymore. So I can slide my foot in. Whenever I slide my foot in, when the foot is in already, if I'm on his collar, I want to get deeper and I want to get the head control. If I didn't have it before, just when I have the collar control. Now, from here, my knee is pointing towards my opponent's head. I want my knee to be pointing towards his feet. And I want to turn my knee to the other side, very tight, staying in contact with his body. So, right now, I'm going to open my leg, and as I said, I'm staying in a contact with his body. So as you can see, my kneecap now slides through his shin, and I open my knees towards the side. Now, as you can see, this leg is straight because I put the pressure with my kneecap towards his thigh. My hips are controlling the top leg and bringing it down. So he can't really open the position. His hips has to be turned towards me. Now my upper body works to put him flat on the ground. And this situation gives us a couple options to pass my opponent's guard. First option, if I'm able to get with my knee towards his hip like this, close the space, right away I'm able to put my knee up, just a foot in, and I'm sliding to get to mount position. Now, if I'm kind of afraid of climbing my opponent's hips and I want to stay outside, not really be on his body. I'm gonna slide my leg towards his hip. I'm gonna drop my hip to the ground. Now I'm gonna take my foot out. Take my knee and take my foot out. So if I free this leg, I come close to his hip, and I'm gonna get the side control. So let's get from this side. So we're in a chiropractor position. First, slide my knee to his hip, stay tight, knee up, foot in. If he tries to catch my foot with a triangle, that won't work. We're gonna slide it out anyway, and we're gonna get to mount. Like I said, sometimes I don't wanna get on top of my opponent because I feel like he's very dynamic. He can try to frame me hard, push me back. Then I'm gonna go with my bottom leg towards his thigh. Now I'm controlling the bottom leg with my bottom leg. Top leg is kind of free, so I can take it out. I can easily get to the side control using like a side step, kind of long step movement, even though it's not a very long step. So let's go again. So whenever I get the position here and I feel like I want to put more control over my opponent, I want to put more pressure over my opponent, I'm going to slide towards his head or his collar. Like here, I'm going to end up on his head anyway, but sometimes you feel like you don't want to reach too far. Then it's okay to just grab the collar, curl him down a little bit. Now you're free to go with your foot in. So I slide my foot in, I go deeper, and I open my knee towards his knee. From here, I take care about his back. I want to turn his back towards the mat. So you really want to make him uncomfortable by stretching his spine. Back to the mat, hips facing me. From here, knee to the hip, elevate the other knee up, slide, and get to mount. The other option, knee to the hip, I drop my hip to the ground, I control the bottom leg with my knee so it stays stretched. He can't really work with his bottom leg to dig underneath me to recover the guard. And now I can take the top leg out. I can end up being a side control. One more position that we're gonna work to get into is 3/4 mount. And that's a very strong position. Even though for competition it doesn't give you points yet, but you have a really heavy control over your opponent and you're really close to get to 7 points dominance. Because whenever you're able to get rid of your opponent's control, whenever you're able to free your leg, instead of just 3 points for guard pass, you get 7 right away because it's stacking 3 points for guard pass and 4 points for mount. If you're not thinking about competition, if you don't thinking about points, it still gives you a lot of dominance in the fight. It's a very hard position to work from. It's a very hard position to get a proper guard from. That's why I want to focus on this position in that instructional as well, because it gives you a lot of nice opportunities to control your opponent, smash his guard, and stay heavy on top. All right. So let's see the position. So whenever my leg's in, I can choose if I wanna put my knee towards the close hip, and that gives me opportunity to pass with a knee slide here, or if I wanna put my leg towards the far hip, and then I'm turning my opponent's body towards the other direction. So from here, whenever I get to this position, my goal is to get as much control as I can over my opponent's shoulder lines. So I don't want his arms to be free. Whenever his arms are free, he can start digging and he can start recovering the guard. So my goal will always be to put his back flat on the ground. I don't want him to be sideways. And then my goal will be to always work to get at least one underhook. One underhook is enough to maintain a strong control over your opponent. One underhook is enough to put your opponent in a threat of submission. Okay, but ideally we're gonna work to get double underhook control, and then our opponent is really in a bad spot, and then we're free to pass his guard with a couple nice concepts. So whenever you get to that position, make sure to stay heavy with your knee and don't let your opponent to frame on your leg, because whenever he can conquer the knee line, so he's gonna push my leg in, yeah, that's gonna be bad for me. If I'm here, he pushes my leg in, he can scoop his hips out, frame, and he's escaping. So my first goal whenever I get to the position is to not allow him to be turned towards the ground. So first, get the arm underneath his head and use your chest to bring his back flat on the ground. Now from here, I'm gonna use my hand to dig and I'm gonna get the underhook. If you're having a hard time getting like a proper underhook, but you're already underneath the hand, use like a spider motion on the mat to bring the arm high, and then it's gonna turn into a nice and deep underhook. From here, if that's enough for me to maintain the control and start passing, I can stay with this one. If I have to go for another underhook to get double underhook control, what I like to do is I like to use the hand that I was getting initial underhook to control his head. So I'm putting my hand on the side of his head and I'm turning his head sideways. Then I free my other hand and I'm digging to get the underhook. Same thing here. If he's staying tight with his arm here, I want to drop my hand to the ground and little by little I'm making like a spider move to raise his arm up. Whenever I can get the double underhook, now we're in a good control to start passing his guard without any threat of guard recovery. Alright, let's see our options to pass 3/4 mount. And we're gonna start with the easy one without any risk of our opponent recovering his guard. That's my favorite one actually. I'm always starting with this one. Whenever I'm not able to get that one, I'll have to use something a little bit stronger and a little bit more radical. So we're starting in a position already, and like this. All right. So first thing, I get my underhook, and right now I wanna get with my knee a little bit lower. So initially, when I'm in a 3/4 mount, I'm with my both legs high on his waistline. But for this pass, I wanna get lower like this. So I open my knee. I'm not stick with my knee with his hip anymore. I open my knee a little bit and I slide down with my other leg below the level of his hips. Now from here, I'm not able to just turn and see what's his legs configuration there, how he's crossing those legs. So I have to use my foot to see what's going on there. So I'm trying to see how his legs are crossing and where is the space where I can dig in with my toes. So whenever I feel like a crack between his legs, I'm digging in with my toes. And whenever I'm able to get in, I'm using an active hook to bring the leg up. Then he's not able to squeeze my foot anymore. Try to squeeze. I can work it out to the ground. Bring the leg towards the hip. Bring the knee towards the hip again. Go over the hip. And we got a nice and tight mount. So that's an easy way. The only thing you have to do, you have to lower yourself down, allowing yourself to use your legs and get between his legs. Whenever you're able to get between his legs, use an active hook to separate them, make some space, and work your leg out. So let's see from this direction. So here, I got my initial 3/4 mount with an underhook. So first, I open my leg and I slide down. So as you can see, my hips are pressing against, let go, against his thigh here. All right, so I'm not high on his hips, I'm here on his thigh. So from here, now, I open my knee. So it's gonna be easy for me to work with my legs. If my position is tight, I'm limited. But if I'm wide, I'm free to go. So now I have to use my foot to see what's going on here. Whenever I feel like there's a crack, I dig in. So I'm making like a little moves. Active hook, bring the leg up, separate them, work your leg to get to the mat. Now, knee tight, come up on top. Like I said before, if I'm not able to use my favorite option to pass 3/4 mount with getting lower and sticking my foot between his legs, separating them and freeing my leg, then I have to turn towards some more radical options. Most likely I'll have to raise my hips up to create more leverage and to create more force of pull my leg up. All right, so let's see that one right now. So as you could see, in the first option, I didn't have to necessarily have two underhooks. So it's a little bit less work for me. That's why I like it so much, because it's easy and I don't have to really work hard to get both underhooks. Now, whenever I have a 1/4 mount with one underhook, and I would like to pass using the other option with putting my hips up and using this hook against his thigh, I create a lot of space here for my opponent to recover the guard. And if I'm not gonna work to get double underhook, he can use this arm against me to recover the guard. That's why this one needs a little bit of more work from you. If you leave it like this and you try to pass, now he's free to post and he will start pushing you back, pushing your knee in, trying to recover the guard, using his underhook to maybe even expose your back. We don't want that kind of a problem. So if we end up in a 3/4 mount and we don't want to go towards the first option, or it didn't work for us, then that means we have to work to get the second underhook. So first I go high, I control the head, I bring his head to the side. So it's kind of uncomfortable for him. Plus I'm separating the head from this shoulder, so it's going to be a little bit easier to work for the second underhook. I slide my arm in and I'm going up using the spider move to get all the way to the top. Now, this arm gonna grab the head, this hand gonna grab the head, and now I wanna circle my head in and I wanna put my forehead on the mat. So I wanna base here with my head, making like a tripod soon. So this is the one leg of a tripod. Second leg is gonna be my arm. Now I'm gonna raise my hips up, and because my opponent doesn't have a free hand to work with, He can't push my knee in. He can't work against my hips. Now I can put my leg on top of his thigh and I can push it down to free my leg. Whenever I free my leg, I put it flat on the ground. I put my foot flat and I slide in with my hips down towards his hips to get to mount position. Now, whenever I get to mount position and I'm already having both legs, both arms secured like this, I can right away start going up to S mount to start working for the arm bars. So it gives you a straight way to submission whenever you get to mount. So let's go again. So we got here 3/4 mount. First option didn't work, so I go here, I grab the side of his head and I turn. Now I swim my arm in, spider move to bring the arm up. Now I don't wanna start passing from here. I wanna have my head on the mat. So I have to get with my head to the side, slide it down, put my forehead on the ground. First leg of a tripod, second leg of a tripod. And now my foot on the ground will be the third one. From this foot, I'm gonna elevate my hips up. So that's my tripod. Hook in. Ideally, I wanna put my hook behind his thigh. Like I really wanna make a nice and tight hook. But sometimes you won't be able, try to make it super tight. Sometimes you won't be able to make a nice hook here to really like hook yourself in. In this case, I'm just gonna put my foot on his thigh and I'm gonna push his thigh down. Now I can stick my hook in again. Shin close to his hip. Slide my leg out. Get to the mount position. Maintain double underhook control. Let's go from other angle. So let's say you already have double underhook, tripod. Now I go in. If I'm able to dig in with my foot, that's perfect. I want to like create some space, open, push his leg down and pull my leg towards me in the same time. If he's super tight on my leg, I'm gonna use my foot to kind of like kick his leg down, but actually I'm pushing it down and then I'm trying to get in with my hook. Try to keep it tight. Right now, if my hook is in, he can't really make it tight on my foot. I can always take it out and get the mount.